Hey everybody, it's Keith Wheeler from kwheelerbooks.com and the Review Mates Facebook group. Today's video is going to be about being an author on Goodreads. I will show you how to first become an author, as well as some of the things that you can do once you are an author. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so the first thing we're going to talk about is the difference between a regular Goodreads account and a Goodreads Author's account. So to find out if you already have an author's account, you go to the top right hand corner. Right there you'll see your profile picture, and if you click on that, you'll get a drop down. The second item here, author dashboard, obviously will only show up if you're a Goodreads author. Now if you're not a Goodreads author yet, that's fine. I'm going to show you how to get your Goodreads author status. So you're going to go to the search books and you're going to search for one of your books. My suggestion, like I said last video, is to go with one of your most popular. And the reason why is that way it will most likely already be in their database. Now as you see here, I just put in My Buddy Knows, and right now on the database I should have two books, My Buddy Knows Letters and My Buddy Knows Numbers. This little logo here, the Goodreads logo, on this one as well as this one, that means that they have already been claimed by an author, in this case me. This one looks like it's actually a duplicate of my Numbers book, and that has not been claimed because it's in there accidentally. But it's good because it's going to let me show you two things. So just to show you what it looks like when you actually claim one, if I click on this one that's already been claimed, it'll pull up the cover of my book, and it'll say the name of the book, and then it'll say by Keith Wheeler, which is clickable. And if I click on that, because I claimed this book already, it will show my profile pic, and it'll show all of my information. All the books that I've written that are on their database, the books I'm reading, books I've rated and reviewed, any quotes I have, groups I belong to. So this one's been claimed by me. So we're going to go back, and as you can see, it says I'm a Goodreads author right here. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to type in My Buddy Knows again. And we're going to click on the one that has not been claimed, just so you can see what it'll look like when you go in and go to claim your book. So again, it's got the name of the book and it has the author, which is clickable. Now if I click on it, the difference is because this one hasn't been claimed by anyone, there's no profile picture because this person doesn't exist yet. So if you scroll down below all of this information, it'll say, is this you? Let us know. And if you click on let us know, it will pop up questions for you to answer. And once you submit that, that will submit you into the Goodreads Author program. They say it takes up to 48 hours for approval. I got approved in about 12 hours, and from what I've heard from other authors, it's about 24 is the normal. But in any case, you'll receive an email when you're approved and added to the Goodreads Author program. Once you're in the program, again, you can log on and you'll click over here, and then you'll see the author dashboard. And when you click on that, this gives you all the stats about you and your books. Now, your stats to begin with aren't going to be a lot. Most of them are going to be zeros or low numbers. So as you use Goodreads more frequently, things are going to increase, like your number of followers, your number of friends. When you have a Goodreads account, whether it's an author account or a normal account, you have shelves just like any bookcase, and your default to, I believe it's 4 or 5 shelves, and you can add shelves as you go. So some people are very detailed. They may have a shelf for books that they physically own as opposed to books that they own the ebook version. Or they may have books that are their top 10 books. So they'll have a shelf that just says top 10 books or top 10 children's books. You can get as specific as you want. You can also download their app on your smartphone and actually scan in the ISBN codes for physical books that you have at your house. So you can add that to your collection if that's what you're interested in doing. So I'm not really going to go over all of this, but number of works just means the number of books that I've claimed. Right now it's 6. Total books added. Out of all 6 of my books, 284 books have been added to people's shelves. Now, if you look over here, it says added by unique users. That number is only 280 because they can be on more than one shelf. So this is 280 people. This is how many shelves my book is on. This is how many ratings I've done and reviews. You can actually rate something, like just give it 5 stars or 4 stars without actually leaving a review. So that's why those numbers are different. This is probably one of the most important things. You want to be on people's to-read shelf. And the reason why I say that is every time someone marks your book and puts it on their to-read shelf or want-to-read shelf, then it shows up in their newsfeed, which, just like with all other social media, their newsfeed, their friends can see. So the more people that are putting your book on their want to read, or if they've rated it or reviewed it, it will all show up in their newsfeed. And this is how I said in the last video that people that don't normally read your genre can still see your name and still see your book. This is how, is by getting more people to put your book on their want to read list, their want to read shelf. I'll cover in the next video how to get more of those people, but that's just a little intro to the want to read shelf. These are the books that I have. They have Ask the Author. Ask the Author, I think, is one of the strongest things that an author can participate in on the Goodreads forum. The Ask the Author basically is your way as an author to get that one-on-one connection with your readers or potential readers. They can actually ask you questions, and when they ask you a question, you'll get an email. You can go in here and you can actually respond to it. Now, if you're going to participate in that, which I suggest you do, my biggest suggestion is be authentic and don't just do it just to do it. You know, if someone asks you a question, they're really you have their attention. The last thing you want to do is lose it by giving them a 1 or 2 word answer. Now, some questions may only require 1 or 2 answers or 1 or 2 words, but if someone asks you, how did you get the idea for your last book, chances are that's more than just a sentence response. So again, be authentic and just be honest. If you can't think of questions, or if no one's asking you questions right off the bat, which will most likely happen when you're a newer author, there already are some questions that Goodread has. And so feel free to answer those. You don't have to answer them all. But again, these will show up on your newsfeed as well as anybody who's following you. The great thing about followers is that whenever you come out with a new book, anyone who follows you will be emailed and told that you have a new book coming out or that has come out. They will not email friends, but they will email followers. That's really the biggest difference between friends and followers, except friends, you have to approve every friend, but anybody can follow you. So, as you can see, I have 40 friends right now on Goodreads, and I have a whopping 2 followers. So we're going to have to work on getting that number up a little bit. So, all right, so I covered all that. Now you may be asking, Keith, What if my book isn't in their database? That's fine. I'll show you how to put it in there. So we'll go back to the search, and I'm going to type in My Buddy Knows Colors and Shapes, because that's my new book that is not in the database yet because it's not out. The other good thing is you can add books as long as you have an ISBN and preferably a book cover. You can add books into the database even before you actually publish them. That comes in really handy when you do Goodreads giveaways, which I'll cover in the next video. But you can actually do a Goodreads giveaway on a book that hasn't even launched yet. Okay. Clicked a little too early. Okay. Okay, so this book doesn't exist. So there's an option here. It says manually add a book. So if you click on that, it's going to ask you for the title. It's going to ask you for the subtitle, or I'm sorry, the sort by title. The difference is if your book is the Da Vinci Code, when you do sort by, you're going to put Da Vinci Code, comma, the. And there's little tooltips on each one. So if I click on here, it'll give me a little tooltip. And then ask me for the author, the ISBN, the 13-digit ISBN, publisher, publish date, number of pages, all this information, which I don't have a photo yet, so this is where you put your cover image. All of this information you already have available to you on Amazon if you've already posted the book on Amazon. So my suggestion is, if it's already on Amazon, take this information from here. That way you don't have to retype it. You know, there's your ISBNs, number of pages, your publisher, your publish date, there's your description, there's your title. So again, don't double your efforts. If you already have it available, instead of retyping it and taking the chance of typing it incorrectly, then just take it here right off your Amazon page. And it's quicker to do it that way anyway. So that's how you get your book. And then you're just going to hit the add book. And if this is your first book and you haven't claimed your author's profile yet, then it'll take up to 48 hours. If you already are an author and you're doing that, then it'll be pretty instantaneous. Okay, so we've covered the difference between a regular account and an author's account, how to become an author, how to find books, how to add books that may not be in their database. If you have any questions, there are, just like in any library, there are librarians. And the librarians are just volunteers whose job it is to help you out. So there's actually a group for librarians. And if this will ever refresh, there we go. If you go to communities, go to groups, there will be a librarian group. Now mine's going to show up right here because it's one of my groups, but the quickest way to do it is just go to groups and type the word librarian. And the very top one, Goodreads librarian groups. And if you click on that, there'll be an option to join, which will normally be right here, but I already joined, so it's not there. And then if you have any questions, just create a brand new feed by clicking new and ask your question. From my experience, they're very, very responsive, very helpful. They're all over the world, so I think the longest I've ever had to wait was about 2 hours for a response, and that was around 2 a.m. my time. So I didn't expect a response that quickly, but I was pleasantly surprised. I will say that, like I said, the news feed is probably the most. If you go home, click on the home tab, that's actually that's your opening screen that you're going to see, just like with most social media, and that's your news feed. And this is where people are going to see in their news feed when their friends have, like in this case, have rated or reviewed a book. They're going to see all this. Again, this is how you get people that don't normally read your books. It may be a mom at home that reads a lot of romance, but they have children, and so they see that a friend of theirs just reviewed your book, or they added it to their want to read shelf. Well, then now they may say, oh, let me look at that book. I mean, if so-and-so thinks it's a good book, I might want to take a look at that as well. So again, the newsfeed is going to be a very big, free sales page for you to get your book seen by other people. I will say, when you sign up for the author's program, they will sign you up for their author newsletter. Now, I know human nature is, when you get signed up for something that you didn't request, is to unsubscribe. I strongly advise against that when it comes to the Goodreads Author newsletter. I have found that newsletter very helpful in the time that I've been a Goodreads author. My suggestion is try it for a month or two. If you honestly cannot find anything helpful in it, because it not only helps you as an author navigating through Goodreads, but it also gives you suggestions on how to better promote your book, how to better market your book. And a lot of the things that they're offering are free, a lot of their suggestions. So again, I would suggest at least giving it 1 or 2 newsletters. If you still don't find anything helpful, then you can unsubscribe, but it's free, so yeah, it's at least worth taking a look. And like I said, I found it very useful. So I don't think I've received any that I haven't at least found one thing that I could learn from. So that's it for this video. We covered the differences between a regular account and an author's Goodreads account, how to become an author, how to find your book in the search bar and how to claim it. If your book is not in the database, how to add a book in. We showed you how to do that. Introduced you a little bit to what librarians are and how to get in touch with them. Talked a little bit about shelves. Talk about more about that in future videos. But the important thing is that you can add shelves. You can be as detailed as you want, or as laid back as you want. I think I only have 5 shelves right now. So I basically have the 4 that they give me, and then I've got 1 that is just a list of all of my books. So that's completely up to you. Again, the want to read shelf is extremely important when you want people to put your book on their want to read shelf. So I actually might add a shelf for books I've reviewed, just so I can keep up with that, because I know I've reviewed quite a few books, but there's still quite a few on my to-do list that I haven't quite gotten to yet. So also we talked about the difference between friends and followers. Again, you want to try to get, obviously friends are great, but you want to try to get as many followers as possible. I talked about the author's newsletter and how I suggest you at least give it a shot, give it 1 or 2 issues before you decide to unsubscribe if you still don't find it useful. The next video, we're going to talk about the biggest question I get asked when it comes to Goodreads, which is Goodreads giveaways. People have asked me all kinds of questions. It's probably going to be a little bit longer video because I have a lot of questions that I want to answer. But some of the things I'm going to touch on is, what is it? How to get one started, how to get a Goodreads giveaway started, what happens when someone enters your giveaway, and then a little bit on my philosophy on giveaways, as far as, do I give away 1 book? Do I give away 10 books? Do I do it for 1 week? Do I do it for 3 months? There's people that will argue every which way. So I'm going to give you just my take on it. There's really not just a real clear-cut answer. especially when it comes to the length of time. But I have recently done a case study on one of my books, and so I have that information that I will share with you. And also, the wording to use. I'm not going to tell you word for word what to say, because obviously it's going to be different for each book. But you want to make sure that yours stands out. You don't. I mean, there are hundreds of books, if not thousands of books, doing a giveaway at any given time. The last thing you want is for yours to just look like everybody else's. So I'm going to show you some tips and tricks on how to get it to look a little different. Also, as you saw, I don't have a lot of followers here on Goodreads. I only have 2. So what I'm going to ask is, I'm going to give you guys a challenge. If you can get me up to 25 followers by the next video, I will also give you a little sneak peek, a little tip on something that I do with my giveaways that actually get people to buy my other books that aren't in the giveaway itself. So a little prize for if we can get me up to 25 followers. So also, your homework for this week is to get all of your books into their database and claim them all, as well as obviously claim your author's profile. So until next time, I'll talk to you later. Have a good day.